To summarize, the Juuma No. 4 is a plane that is much more affordable than a Lie-Nielsen high-end plane or Veritas, and with a little bit of extra work it can be a really good user plane. It's a little bit heavy and the tote is a little bit far back, but nothing that would impact its usability. So I can recommend this plane for anyone that doesn't have access to Lie-Nielsen or Veritas tools, and or the budget to drop 500 euros on premium plane. So this is a Juuma No. 4 and I've given it a quick test run, which was fairly good, and now I'm going to see what I want to do to the body to tune it a little, to make it more comfortable to use. Probably not gonna reshape the handle despite the screw being a little bit far. So I would have liked to be maybe half a centimeter, quarter inch further in. Yeah, so other considerations: easing the edges a little, maybe the heel and the front. This is fairly sharp here. I may want to take a file to that. Same with the blade. Nothing really terrible, but feels a little bit like you're snagging there. Don't think there's much that needs to be done to the cap iron. Could be filed a little bit, or just some 200-400 grit sandpaper to ease the edges. The blade is sharp. I mean, not sharp, but sharp enough that it's uncomfortable. Wipe off some of the oil there. As you can see, it's fairly well machined from what I can tell with my limited experience. Nice finish there. And yeah, so I'll take this apart. More oil. Let's see. So I suppose these screws are to loosen the frog, and then you can move it like this, and it's sliding up and down there. Pretty nice. I'm not sure. Yeah, I will have to remove that completely. So let's see what happens if I pull out the screws. I'll just do that off camera. So that was interesting. I just have to turn this back a little bit, and then I can pull that off, because the screw, the tip of the screw is just pointing in there, registering on this hole there. So no need to screw it out all the way. Right. much oil in here, but better than rust, I guess. Okay. Right, so let's take the frog. There's some chamfer here, but nothing here, and this is where I feel like I'm catching a little bit. So I really need some different kind of file there. Doesn't take much really. So this is very coarse. This one's flat, this one is basically that's a file in a way. So I'm not a metal worker, so bear with me. I'm trying to just get this a little bit more comfortable for the hands. Right, so chainsaw file, not the best one for this, but it's round and it should help. I don't like these heavy marks there, but I don't want to take off all that much either. This file has safe edges, they're around it, which is not ideal, but should be fine. So that should be everything I need to do here. Onto the blade. Yeah, I'll leave the front portion alone and just do the back, which is, let's see how sharp that is without cutting myself on the actual edge. So, it should be hardened somewhere here in the, I mean, I'm not sure how hard that is really. It is skipping more at the front, so I don't want to ruin the file. Again, it doesn't take much, just slight chamfer, ease a little. And yeah, that is such a difference. So these inside corners are sharp still. That takes care of most of that. Yeah, I think that will do. So while I'm at it, I think I'll do a little chamfer here. Interestingly, seems to be copper. It does have a little bit of a burr. Maybe I should use sandpaper instead. Front edge seems to be fine. And again, probably not the best file for the job, but it should be good enough. And I could take a little bit of sandpaper to make it nicer, but yeah. Yeah, I don't want to remove that really. I can't really, but I'll just go as far as I can without hurting the copper there. So yeah, I could go with some sandpaper, but it's not something I'll be touching all the time. So the Chipbreaker seems to have the edges eased a little, but I had to give it a few more strikes with a file. It's understandable in that price range that they don't put in the time and effort to do that, and it's easy enough to do on your own, so not much lost there. And you can see this has a little lip there where it's pointing downwards, and that's something I may want to lap a little or hone a little. Not that it will make a huge difference, but so next on to the plain body, and the edges are not sharp as in I can cut myself with it, but they're also not as rounded as I want them, not to snatch on some piece of wood or dig in. So a few shavings there. Could do a little bit more, not sure if I want to. Oh, I think I had the angle wrong. Yeah, that seems fine. Next edge. So I have to make sure that I'm not running the file along the teeth. So I have to either angle it more like this or more like this, draw filing, or so the edge doesn't ride between two teeth. Okay, front corner, edge. Looks like there's a little bit of a chamfer there. Also, oh yeah, doing the edges a little, the corners there. And the heel. So some planes do have an actual relief there, like this old record. Not sure that's from the factory or ground afterwards, but I'm not sure I will go that far, but I do want to have some relief there. So a bunch of metal shavings, it's much nicer, and I guess I could do the back edge of the mouth, but it's not something I'll get my fingers on all that much. And the front edge I want it to be fairly sharp. I mean, I guess I could go in with some ruby and just prevent that from really cutting without taking much off. But that's about it. Now I can reassemble it. Right, so one more thing after filing. Take a file card and clean off any shavings between the teeth. So I understand that will make the file last longer and work better. Okay, so to install the frog, I have to make sure that this this slot fits in between these two parts of the screw. These have to point backwards. Could have some indicator there. Let's just put one on there. Make it easier. Oh, there's a dot, right? Huh, I didn't see that. But yeah, it's right there. That's smart. I have to turn it back until it drops down. Make sure it's aligned correctly. And then I can pull it a little bit. Back off length of turn, and then I can adjust the frog. So I'm not particularly experienced in frog adjustment. But what I want to do is get to a point where, yeah, so I'm not sure you can see that, but this will let the blade hit the mouth, and I want to make sure that it will protrude with some space. Needs to back off quite a bit. So this is going through, but there's basically, oh yeah, so there's some room there. And now depending what I want to use it for, if it's a smoother, I want that to be very small. But if I want to take some coarser shavings, needs to be able to clear them. Right, I'll do some sharpening on the blade first, and then I'm back on installing it. So I have these water stones that I want to start using, but I also have the diamond stones that I'm used to, and I'm going to use them to sharpen the blade. So this gives me a burr onto the next wood. Fine. And now I'll see what the back says in terms of flatness. Right, so this is not great. This is not great. It's a little bit hollow there, and I would want to have it flat. I'm not sure it will affect performance yet, because it does take care of the burr. Not 100% sure about that. So, I would have to flatten all of that if I wanted to have it perfect. But I'll see how it behaves. I mean, this has been ground and not terribly so. So I'll give it a try and see if I have to flatten that. I mean, it did cut previously, so it might be fine. So I forgot the Chipbreaker, which I wanted to hone just a little bit. And let's see what the fine stone does. I just want to touch the bevel there. So this looks like it might not be flat either. Small things, but can have an impact. It doesn't have to. Yeah, so you can put in as much effort as you want or think you need. Yeah, so this seems to be good enough, and I could hone the bevel there as well, the outside bevel. I don't want to have it be really sharp, so yeah, that did sharpen it a little, but just going to go with that now. Round that over a little, and then I have this burr that I can remove. Burr there. Yeah, I think the rest I can get off with the strop. So this is a cork strop, leather on this side, just holding compound on this side. I think I can add a little more. Not convinced the cork is a good option. I want to give it a try. And it does work, but it looks like it's tearing out there now. Just want to polish that a little. And the blade. So what I didn't do is ease the edges or add a small camber. So the edges are sharp. I should have done that on the stones, but I'll do it next time. Try to observe all the burrs that I can see is gone. Alright, so see if I can show that. So it does reflect the print there. It's not super polished, but it should be sharp. So this is not an introduction really to planing or setting up a plane, but I think I'm going to mention it. If you don't take care that you and move the freshly sharpened edge over the Chipbreaker, that might not be great for keeping it undamaged. So some have a hole on the back, which makes it easier, but just put it on, move it forward a little, and then move back afterwards. So something like 16th, 32nd. The screw is fairly nice, rounded edges. So I think I may not have fixed the frog yet, so I'll do that now. Alright, I missed something here. So that's a really sharp clang there, and you can, oh, I mean, it does have some round over here. I guess that's fine. If it's too sharp, you can file that off a bit as well. That fits okay. Now the blade, it's much harder to, oh yeah, harder to move back and forth. And again, if I have something bad to say about this plane or something negative, it's that the handle is back a little bit too much, so it's harder to reach the thumb screw. Now to adjust the lateral configuration, I can try to feel for it. And this tells me that it's still protruding more to the right, so I have to move that a little more. Doesn't really take a shaving on the left, still a bit of a shaving on the right, a little bit more. Doesn't really take a shaving, so I'm moving the blade further out. That looks good, and it's about the So I know it's not about the shavings, but the surface finish, but sometimes it's still interesting to see what we're dealing with, and this is like not quite half a thou, so yeah, that looks like it's half a thou. So about hundredths of a millimeter, which is fine. This is a cherry that I've been planing previously, and let's see how it performs now. Yeah, so these are really nice shavings. I'm not sure I can get the I need some number 4 to perform better. Just wispy thin shavings. Let's see if we can get a full one. Still some point. There's something in the way. No, no longer. So I'm getting a 2-piece shaving there at the beginning. Not sure why it's that, but other than that, yeah, I think I can recommend this plane. It's the only one I've used, so maybe I've gotten a good one, and there are better ones as well, but it's certainly worth checking out. So let's take a quick look at the finished surface. That's really smooth and shiny. I'm happy with that. Okay, so I just started to plane this walnut and grain, and just wanted to show how well this works. Let's try an edge grain. Yeah, I mean, I guess this is more like a burr-like structure. It has some cracks. Right. I'm not even sure how the grain is running. Right, so there was some knot nearby, so it's looks like it's diagonal grain. This is basically end grain again. Back off the iron a little. Too much. Yep, not too bad at all.